Welcome back to the epicenter of truth, where we dismantle the lies of the predator and look directly into the cold, clinical reality of the narcissistic collapse. Today, we are exploring a territory that is as dark as it is revealing. We are talking about energy. Specifically, sexual energy, the high-octane fuel that keeps the narcissist's false self from imploding. Have you ever wondered what happens when that fuel line is cut? When the predator is denied the very essence they use to feel powerful? We are asking the big haunting question: what disgusting, desperate, and pathological habits do they develop when the sexual supply runs dry? Stay focused, because we are about to expose the scavenger behind the mask. Imagine a cinematic thriller where the monster is no longer hiding in the shadows, but is out in the light, starving and desperate. That is the narcissist who has been cut off from their primary source of physical validation. To you, intimacy is a bridge to connection. To them, it is a biological heist. It is a way to siphon off your vitality and store it in their hollow chest. When you withhold that energy, you aren't just saying no to an act, you are cutting off the oxygen to their ego. The silence that follows is not a peaceful one. It is the heavy, suffocating silence of a predator who is calculating their next move in a world that is suddenly cold and empty. You have seen the mask slip before, but nothing compares to the shift that happens when the narcissist realizes their sexual currency is no longer accepted at your bank. It starts with a look, a sharp, clinical glare that reveals the true nature of their desire. It was never about you. It was always about what you provided. We are peeling back the skin on the sexual supply myth to show you the gears of the machine underneath. You are not a partner in their eyes, you are a charging station. And when the station is closed for repairs, the machine begins to malfunction in ways that are both terrifying and deeply, viscerally disgusting. The big haunting question is one that every survivor eventually asks: who was I actually sleeping with? The answer is a hard pill to swallow. You were sleeping with a parasite that viewed your warmth as a commodity. Now that the commodity is gone, the narcissist enters a state of energy panic. They cannot exist without a reflection, and they cannot feel significant without the physical conquest of another soul. This is where the slow burn horror begins. They don't just walk away, they begin to scavenge. They look for microdoses of energy in the darkest corners, turning into a version of themselves that is unrecognizable. Think of the narcissist as a high-performance vehicle that is running on a stolen battery. Once that battery dies and the energy stops flowing, the engine begins to seize. They start to exhibit habits that are designed to provoke you, to hurt you, or to force you back into a state of compliance. It is a psychological warfare breakdown of the highest order. They will use shame, they will use guilt, and they will use a form of sexual sabotage to try and regain the upper hand. But they are no longer the suave seducer. They are a frantic, starving entity willing to eat the scraps of your negative emotion just to feel a spark. Most people think a narcissist will just find someone else when they lose supply. While that is often true, there is a lapsed period where they are stuck in the void. This is the gray room of the narcissist's mind. In this chapter of their collapse, they become hyper-obsessed with your energy. They watch you like a hawk, looking for any sign of weakness that they can exploit. The disgusting habits we are about to detail are the symptoms of a soul that has completely run out of credit. They are bankrupt, and they are looking for someone, anyone, to pay the bill for their internal emptiness. Why is this so hypnotic to watch? Because it is the moment the predator becomes the scavenger. The narcissist who once stood tall on a pedestal of your making is now crawling through the mud of their own insecurity. They are haunted by the fact that you have reclaimed your power. Your energy is now yours again, and that is a direct insult to their perceived divinity. The deadly curse of the old narcissist is that they have spent their youth trading on a beauty that is fading and a charm that is wearing thin. Without the constant flow of sexual supply, the rot that has been hiding underneath finally begins to reach the surface. We are entering the territory of pathological desperation. This isn't just about a breakup. It's about the total system failure of a personality structure built on the objectification of others. The narcissist is terrified of being invisible. To them, being ignored is a form of death. When you stop providing the energy they crave, they feel themselves disappearing. This is why their habits become so bizarre and invasive. They are trying to anchor themselves back into reality by forcing a reaction out of you. They want to prove they still exist by making you feel uncomfortable, violated, or small. You need to understand this so you can protect yourself. You need to see the disgusting habits not as signs of their love or their need for you, but as clinical symptoms of their addiction to power. They are energy junkies in withdrawal. The cinematic documentary of their life is reaching a turning point where the protagonist is revealed to be the villain all along. The more you know about their internal chaos, the less power they have to pull you back into the void. We are exposing the secret knowledge so that you can walk away with your spirit intact, leaving the predator to starve in the darkness they created. Stay with me as we dive into Chapter 2, where we will break down the visceral psychology of why they need this energy so badly. We will explore the internal battery and the parasitic loop that defines their existence. This is the analytical truth that empowers you to stop feeling sorry for them. The narcissist is not a broken person to be fixed. They are a calculated entity that views your very life force as a resource to be harvested. The thriller is just getting started, and the exposure of their sexual doom is the only way to ensure your final victory. The lights are coming on, and the scavenger has nowhere to hide. To understand the disgusting habits of the starving narcissist, we must first analyze the sterile, echoing laboratory of their inner world. The narcissist is born with a void where a soul should be. This is not a metaphor, it is a psychological reality. They do not have an internal source of self-worth. They are like a house with no power lines. They must plug in to others to turn on the lights. Sexual energy is the high-voltage connection. It provides them with an immediate, visceral sense of being alive and dominant. Without it, they are a cold, dark structure, haunted by the wind of their own insignificance. Imagine a creature that only feels real when it is being reflected in the eyes of someone they have conquered. To the narcissist, sex is not about pleasure, it is about proof of existence. It is the ultimate validation that they can still command the attention and the body of another human being. When they lose this supply, they enter a state of ego fragmentation. They start to feel like they are literally falling apart. The disgusting habits are their way of gluing the pieces back together. They are desperate attempts to reclaim a sense of solidness in a world that is increasingly translucent. The narcissist's hidden motive in every intimate encounter is the theft of worth. They don't just want your body, they want your shimmer. They want to take the light you have and wear it like a coat. But because they cannot generate their own light, the coat eventually fades. They need a new dose constantly. The sexual doom is the realization that the dose is no longer available. This triggers a malignant panic. They start to exhibit sexual scavenging behaviors, looking at old photos, stalking ex-partners, or engaging in high-risk, low-value encounters just to feel a spark of the old power. Use the cinematic metaphor of a dying Sunday. In their prime, the narcissist's gravity was so strong that everyone was pulled into their orbit. They felt like a god, burning bright on the energy of their conquests. But as they lose access to their primary supply, they run out of fuel. They are entering the red giant phase, bloated, aggressive, and desperate to consume anything nearby just to stay alive. The disgusting habits are the solar flares of a dying star. They are unpredictable, destructive, and ultimately futile. They are trying to burn you one last time before they go cold and dark forever. Their internal chaos is a feedback loop of shame and grandiosity. Because they used sex as a reset button for their insecurity, they never learned how to actually process their feelings. Now, as the reset button fails to work, the shame is accumulating like toxic waste. They are haunted by the ghosts of the discarded. Not because they feel guilty, but because those people represent a potency they no longer possess. The energy they once took for granted is now a museum of their failures. They are surrounded by trophies that have tarnished and memories that only remind them of their current impotence. Let's talk about the metabolic cost of grandiosity. The narcissist's lifestyle requires an incredible amount of psychological energy to maintain the mask. As they age and lose sexual supply, they simply don't have the metabolic reserve to keep the act going. The mask is getting too heavy. The disgusting habits are the result of the mask slipping in public. They become petty, they become unkempt, and they start to express a bitter sexual entitlement. They feel like the world owes them the energy they used to steal, and when the world doesn't pay, they lash out with a disgusting, childish rage. There is a visceral predatory fatigue that sets in. The narcissist is tired of the hunt, but they are terrified of the silence. They have created a life where rest feels like death because they have no internal peace to rest in. Their history of treating sex as a transaction has left them with a shattered attachment style. They can't be alone, but they can't be with anyone either. Every new attempt at supply is just a new mirror that eventually starts to show the same rotting image. The deadly curse is the realization that they are the common denominator in every disaster of their life. In the absence of sexual supply, the narcissist turns to microsupply scavenging. This is where the disgusting habits become truly evident. They will pick fights just to see you cry. They will triangulate you with total strangers. They will engage in digital exhibitionism, posting provocative things online just to see who bites. They are bottom feeding. They have moved from hunting big game to eating insects. Anything that provides a flicker of energy is fair game. It is a pathetic, documentary-like look at the decline of a predator who has lost their edge and is now just a nuisance. Why does this matter to you? Because it proves that their winning was an illusion. While you were suffering the withdrawal of leaving them, they were doubling down on the debt that is now crushing them. The energy they took from you was never theirs, it was a loan they could never repay. Now, as they exhibit these disgusting habits, they are revealing their total system failure. They are bankrupted by their own choices. You are free to grow, they are only free to decay. You are the source of the light, they were just the shadow that tried to claim it. We are moving into Chapter 3, the dramatic turning point. This is where the mask doesn't just slip, it shatters in public. We will explore what happens when the narcissist tries to use their old seduction tricks on a world that has already moved on. This is the moment the deadly curse becomes an active collapse. You will see the narcissist react with a rage that is as pathetic as it is terrifying. The thriller is reaching its peak, and the secret knowledge is about to become your sovereign shield. The predator is about to discover that the energy they stole was the only thing keeping them human. The collapse of the old narcissist is a slow-motion tragedy that takes place in the grey room of their own isolation. This is the internal panic phase where the disgusting habits fully manifest. Without the noise of sexual supply to drown out the screaming silence of their own emptiness, they are forced to sit with the one person they have been running from, their true self. And that person is a monstrous stranger. The panic is absolute because they have no internal resources to cope with being alone and unimportant. They begin to exhibit self-soothing pathology that is deeply unsettling. Watch the social consequences as the narcissist becomes a sexual scavenger. They start to target people who are significantly younger, more vulnerable, or more broken than themselves. They are looking for easy energy. This is the disgusting habit of predatory reaching. They use their age or their perceived wisdom as a lure, but the energy they project is predatory fatigue. They are no longer the prize, they are the creep that everyone avoids. This social erasure is a death of 1,000 cuts to their ego. They are becoming background noise in a world that used to revolve around them. When the narcissist doesn't get sexual supply, they turn to physical and digital intrusion. They might accidentally send provocative messages to exes, or post thirst traps on social media that are age-inappropriate and desperate. They are fishing in a dead lake. They want to see if the old bait still works. They are addicted to the notification bell and the like button as a substitute for real intimacy. It is a digital shrill for attention. This is a disgusting habit because it is a total abandonment of dignity. They are ego-begging in public, and the world is watching with pity. Let's talk about the hygiene of the ego. As the narcissist collapses, their physical and mental hygiene often begins to slip. They become slovenly in their manipulation. Their lies become transparent and lazy. They stop putting in the effort to maintain the grandioso mask. This is the disgusting habit of apathy. They are giving up on the performance, but they still expect their applause. They move through the world with a bitter entitlement, complaining about how nobody understands them or how the world has changed. They are grasping at shadows and blaming the sun for moving. The narcissist enters a state of sexual bitterness. They start to attack the very concept of intimacy and beauty in others. They become hypercritical, judgmental, and malignant toward anyone who is actually happy. This is the disgusting habit of poisoning the well. If they can't have the energy, they want to make sure nobody else can enjoy it either. They become the moral police or the bitter critic, using their supposed virtue to mask their sexual envy. It is a dark, psychological spite that reveals the true rot in their soul. They are kings of the graveyard. There is a visceral panic that manifests as bodily hypochondria. Without the external energy of sexual supply to distract them, the narcissist becomes hyper-aware of their own physical decay. They become obsessed with death and illness. They use pity supply as a substitute for sexual supply. They want you to feel sorry for them, to care for them, to give to them because they are suffering. This is a disgusting habit because it is a fake vulnerability used to guilt-trip you into staying. They are weaponizing their weakness to keep you in their dying orbit. Watch the unraveling of the script. The narcissist starts to recycle old lines and old stories that worked 20 years ago. They are a living museum of manipulations. This is the disgusting habit of pathological redundancy. They are so out of touch with reality that they think you won't notice they are using the same seduction playbook on everyone. They are unoriginal and sterile. The secret knowledge is that they have no new material. They are a broken record playing to an empty room. Their sexual doom is the realization that the world is bored of them. The narcissist turns to petty theft of energy. They will start triangulating you with people who aren't even there. They will create imaginary rivals to try and spark your jealousy. They will leak information about other people who want them just to see if you will compete. This is a disgusting habit because it is so obvious and pathetic. They are fabricating demand for a broken product. They want to feel desired so badly that they will lie about the most basic things. They are starving for a flicker of interest that they no longer deserve. The tone is getting harsh and brutally truthful because the narcissist's final descent is an ugly process. They are losing the war against time and truth. The disgusting habits are the symptoms of the rot. They are biological junk that they are trying to sell as gold. They are sexually doomed because they never developed a heart. They are alone in a world of flesh with a soul made of static. The predator is now scavenging for crumbs in the shadows of their own failures. The thriller is reaching its final act, and the scavenger is about to be discarded. We are moving into Chapter 5, the final truth and cinematic closing. This is where we deliver the final punch and focus on you, the survivor. We will explore how their doom is your resurrection. We will provide the final closure that you don't need from them. The tone is getting empowering, cinematic, and elevated. The narcissist is trapped in the scavenger's void, but you are walking out into the sun. The disgusting habits are their fate, but healing is your sovereignty. The secret knowledge is about to become your eternal freedom. The scavenger is gone. We arrive at the final truth, the punch that shatters the spell forever. The narcissist's sexual doom and their disgusting habits are not a tragedy you should mourn. They are the logical conclusion of a life built on theft. You were never the loser for giving too much. They were the loser for being unable to receive. Their deadly curse is the proof of your value. The fact that they are collapsing in the silence of their sexual desperation proves that the energy they took from you was the only thing keeping them human. You were the source, and they were the void. Emotional closure comes from the absolute recognition of their nothingness. You stop waiting for an apology, because an apology from a scavenger is just more bait. You realize that their sexual doom is the apology of the universe. The secret knowledge is that the narcissist is already dead inside. They are a biochemical ghost wandering through a life they never inhabited. Your healing begins the moment you stop looking back at the predator and start looking forward at the sovereign. You are not a victim of a predator, you are a survivor of an entity that is now obsolete. Empowerment is the reclamation of your own narrative. The narcissist tried to write you as a disposable battery in their theater of theft. But you have taken the pen back. You are rewriting the script of your life with integrity, authenticity, and deep connection as the lead characters. The disgusting habits of the narcissist are the subplot that resolved itself. You are no longer competing with the shadows of their desperate supply hunting. You are standing in the sun of your own future. You have transcended the dark thriller and entered a cinematic epic of self-actualization. Let's deliver the final truth punch. The narcissist's history of sexual theft was a declaration of bankruptcy. Every conquest was a confession that they couldn't afford the price of a real person. They stayed in the shallows because they were terrified of the deep. But you are the deep. You have the capacity for suffering, and therefore you have the capacity for joy. You have the capacity for loss, and therefore you have the capacity for love. The narcissist is sexually doomed because they sold their depth for a puddle. You are an ocean. The sovereign healing is a cinematic closing of the sacred self. You are sealing the doors of your energy field to the predatory frequency. You are tuning your soul to the frequency of the real. You look at the old narcissist and their disgusting habits, and you feel a clinical indifference. They have no power over you because they have no reality. They are a glitch in the simulation of love that you have already exposed. You are whole. You are sovereign. You are free. The deadly curse is their prison, and awareness is your key. Provide yourself with the final closure. I was never broken, I was only harvested. And now, I am growing again. The narcissist's sexual doom is the mulch for your new garden. You are using the pain they gave you as the fuel for your ascension. You are becoming the person they were terrified you would be, a person who is self-sufficient, spiritually aligned, and utterly untouchable. The deadly curse is the final act of their hollow drama, but your healing is the first act of a new reality. You are the alchemist of your own trauma. You are transmuted. Think of the survivors watching this right now. We are a tribe of the awakened. We are the light that exposes the void. By witnessing the disgusting habits of the narcissist, we are validating the truth of the heart. We are ending the generation of sexual theft. We are reclaiming the sanctity of intimacy and energy. Your healing is a revolution against the predatory matrix. You are the living proof that integrity wins. The narcissist is sexually doomed to isolation, but you are destined for union with self and with source. You are united. As the credits roll on this psychological breakdown, remember the final line: the predator's winter is silent, but the survivor's spring is a symphony. The narcissist is trapped in the memory of an energy they can never feel again. You are entering a warmth that will never fade. Their sexual doom is the static that is fading into the black. Your life is the signal that is getting stronger. You have survived the curse, and you have claimed the blessing. The thriller is over. The truth remains. You are invincible. You are home. Let the hypnotic reality of your freedom settle into your bones. The narcissist's disgusting habits are natural law that you don't need to enforce. You can drop the burden of justice and retribution. The universe is already executing the sentence. Your only job is to live. To live authentically. To live deeply. To live loudly. The sexual doom of the predator is the vacuum they created. Your life is the atmosphere that fills the space. You are the winner because you remained human in the presence of the inhuman. You are living. You are walking out of the graveyard and into a world where your light is your own, where your energy is protected, and where your soul is no longer for sale. The narcissist is left behind, a starving ghost in a hall of mirrors, forever chasing a reflection they can never hold. They will continue their disgusting habits and their desperate scavenging, but they will do it in a world where you no longer exist as their prey. Your healing is the ultimate victory, your peace is the ultimate weapon, and your sovereignty is the final truth. Remember this as you reclaim every ounce of the energy they tried to steal. A parasite cannot survive without a host, but a whole soul is a sun that never needs to steal a single spark. You are the fire.